So for this we need some butter softened. So here we have a stick of butter, unsalted butter, softened. And we want some sugar, 3/4 of a cup of confectioner's sugar. And we're gonna get that going with our mixer here and whip that up a little bit. So get the butter and the confectioner's sugar mixed together. Turn up the speed there a little bit. Biscottini, biscottini meaning little cookie, biscotti meaning cookies in general, come in many, many shapes and sizes. But when you say biscotti to most people, they think of those long, hard cookies that you dip into coffee or tea or wine or vin santo. But in general, biscotti means cookie. So now we have this mixed up. We can add an egg yolk to this. So I'm going to let go of that egg white, add the egg yolk right there, and we're going to get that going again. So again, we put on our speed, mix that in, get that up a little bit, get that well blended. So we had 3/4 of a cup of confectioner's sugar in there, and now we're going to add a cup of flour. Here is our flour, unbleached all-purpose flour. So that goes in, and let's get that blended. And then we'll work with the nuts. And you can buy hazelnuts already shelled. Don't buy them in the shell because they're very difficult to get the shells off. You can always, if you do, you have to boil the nuts or roast them and then put a towel around the nuts and get the shells off. So it's much better to just buy them already shelled. Cost a little bit more money, but I think it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So there is our mixed up mixture, and now we got to deal with those nuts. So let me set that aside for a minute and talk to you about nuts. So here they are. These are shelled, whole hazelnuts. We want to add them in a fine powder to our mixture. So I'm going to put them in my little mini food processor here and grind them up. Well, let's take a look. That looks good. You never take them out until they're finely ground. So we need about, 1/4 of a cup, and that's going right in there. I'm going to put them all in for a little extra flavor. And now we can get this mixed up. And that's all there is to our batter, but we're not done because now we have to form these into tiny balls, and we're going to be adding a whole hazelnut into each cookie. So just get it mixed up until you can use your hands. So I think that's good. And now we're going to work with this. So put this aside and show you what we do next. Here are my hazelnuts. Move this out of the way. And first of all, we want to get a cookie sheet with some parchment paper on it. This is going to make about 2.5 dozen cookies. So here is my bake sheet, and there is my parchment paper. So let me show you how this goes. You take a little bit of the mixture and have some flour handy in case you need it for your hands, and you can roll them any size you want to. Small balls like that. And place them on the parchment paper. You don't have parchment paper? Well, then what you want to do is grease your baking sheet with some butter or some baking spray. So there's 6. I'll make you a dozen. How's that? These are also the type of cookie that you can freeze ahead of time. So there are 9 and 3 more. And then we can put the hazelnuts in the center. So has a nice texture, kind of like almost a very ethereal biscuit, very, very light biscuit texture to this cookie. So there are our cookies on the sheet. And now here are our hazelnuts. And you simply put a nut, press a nut into the center of each one. And this cookie is also going to cook at 350 degrees. This is going to take about, 12 minutes, not more than that. They should really stay a little bit pale looking, but be nice and brown on the bottom. So there they are. Don't they look pretty? They're nice and dainty. Let me wash my hands. Get those in the oven. 350 degrees for about 12 minutes, I would say. In they go. And here are some that I made a little earlier. There they are. And they only need just a little sprinkling of confectioner's sugar to really dress them up. Isn't that beautiful? Who wouldn't want to eat those?